came into Savannah, we're getting booed. Everyone said we should be thrown out of town. We only sold 2 tickets in our first few months. I don't blame them. It was minor league baseball. They failed for 90 years. No one came to the games. We ran out of money. We were done.
Oh my goodness.
All right, what are we going to do to create attention? We had to name the team contest. Every team does that, but they usually pick the one that everyone wants. We did not do that. Finally, we saw this one suggestion, just one out of thousands, from a 62-year-old nurse.
He started with $1.8 million in debt and a dream that everyone laughed at. But Jesse Cole refused to quit. Jesse turned the Savannah Bananas into a cultural phenomenon, redefining entertainment and proving that joy, creativity, and courage can change the game forever.
Every time you do something you've never done before, you're going to fail. It was brutal. But you have to be willing to get through the messy to get to the great.
How would you describe what makes you a successful entrepreneur? Okay, this is exciting for me because, you know, everybody's got ideas and I like my ideas. And I was thinking about this conversation. I said, I got to add some value to Jesse. I got to try.
I love it.
So I don't know if you've done this yet. It'll be very embarrassing if you have. But I was thinking, what could be something really, really fun? And as I was doing research and just leaning into your story, I know you love P.T. Barnum. I have read about him. I think you're the new P.T. Barnum. And I thought, okay, what would be P.T. Barnum-ish that you could do? So here's my idea.
I'm ready.
I think you need to have a giant elephant. Okay. Not to say that they aren't all giants, but an elephant come in and throw the first pitch. Now this is actually
throwing the first pitch on the elephant?
No, the elephant itself throws the first pitch. So our amazing team, we look to see, has anybody ever done this?
Yes.
Watch this monitor. This has actually been done. This is on a local newscast. Watch this.
We got her up. I think that's a ball.
Where is this?
All right.
I don't know where this was.
Weighing in at 8,500 pounds, perhaps the heaviest of all pitches.
That's a great pitch.
That's a perfect strike.
That's a perfect strike. So it's been done. Now I lay it in your capable hands, and this is my idea. If it gets pulled off, the crowd would go nuts.
Yeah.
Dare I say bananas?
Yes.
If this elephant came out and threw the first pitch. So you don't even have to respond if you don't want to, but there's my genius idea.
Okay.
What do you think?
I love it in the way of yes-anding. I want to yes-and that.
Yes.
I am worried about some of the PETA, some of the things, remember the animals had to leave the circus a few years ago. That helped shut down the circus. Now they're back.
Okay.
So I am a little concerned in that, but I've always wanted to have a player ride a bull out of the bullpen. So I wanted to involve animals in many ways.
Okay.
So the elephant makes a lot of sense.
It does, doesn't it?
A lot of sense.
And if that one could do it, that was a long time ago, as you could tell.
Yeah,
so
Laura, we don't know
if Laura's still with us.
Yes.
But I think we could find somebody. So there's the big idea.
I think if I can get the approvals of making an elephant that everyone gets excited about it.
And then you could ride the elephant. So there you are in your regalia on top of the elephant. This keeps getting better as I think about it.
100%. I think we just leave it at this. I think this has been a pleasure.
Okay. All right. So now that I got that genius idea out of the way, I want you to open up this envelope. This is kind of fun. This is had to be one of the great moments of your life. But I want you to open this up and describe for our audience what this is and what this moment felt like. So here
this only scares me again as well.
I know.
People get the envelopes and say open them up.
I know. There's no white powder in there.
Yeah. All right. Yes.
So tell people what this is.
All right. So this was Fenway Park, and this was right after the start of our show, and very special moment. So I grew up south of Boston, about 30 miles south, and became a very big Red Sox fan because my dad loved the Red Sox. We fell in love with baseball, so I got to be able to watch a lot of games. My first game, I actually was an honorary bat boy for the Red Sox at 5 years old. So my dad won this huge competition and got me. And I was a shy, introverted kid. I know no one believes me, but I was a shy, introverted kid, and I'll never forget in that game, I was sitting there. I was just going to be introduced. You get your video on the video board, but I was sitting there by myself, and a Red Sox player came and sat down next to me, and it was a future Hall of Famer, Lee Smith.
No way.
And I was alone, but he spent 20 minutes with me, just talking with me, making me feel comfortable, making me feel like I mattered, and I didn't realize at the time, but that was my first ever Fans First moment.
Wow.
And that's what we named our company, Fans First Entertainment. And so after that moment, I became a huge Red Sox fan, a huge baseball fan. I probably went to 100 games. I would go buy bleacher tickets at $5, sit way far away, and fell in love with that team. And I had the dream of playing at Fenway Park. So I played baseball, and I was fortunate to have professional scouts at my games, and I picture myself, in the 37th round, not early, late, getting drafted, and it never happened because I tore my shoulder. Yeah. And so 3-4 years ago, to get a call from the CFO of the Red Sox for him to ask, what would it take to get the Savannah Bananas to play at Fenway? In my mind, I was like, what does it take? We're coming. And for us to go there and to see 37,000 fans, completely sold out show, and to be able to be on that field, and not just me getting the chance to play, but hundreds of the people on our team, our staff, our cast, to be a part of that was a moment I'll never forget. And it feels like we get the opportunity to have those dreams come true almost on a weekly basis for someone to get to play at their stadium, their team that they looked up to. So that's something I'll never forget, and it still drives me and guides me to create that for more people in our organization.
I have to ask, was your dad in attendance?
Oh, so before the game, my dad and I played catch on the field. And
oh my gosh, I have goosebumps all over me. This is like a Field of Dreams moment.
And I also had my son, Maverick, play catch. So it was the three of us, 3 generations, playing catch on the field, and we were able to capture that. And, for my son, who was, 5 at the time, he, didn't really, remember. I mean, he might not remember it, but I was 5 years old when I had that first moment.
Full circle.
And so to go back and to think, he got a chance to play catch at Fenway Park with his dad and his granddad.
So special.
And so when you think about what we do, to understand that it comes down to those moments, everything's about moments and creating moments. And I'm so fortunate that I get to, be a fan and live those moments as well. And it gives me purpose in trying to provide more of those to so many people.
I think you're such an inspiration to so many people who have a vision, an idea, a dream to start something.
Yeah.
So I think of that Fenway moment, and I think it has to be so inspiring for a lot of people that are watching and listening to this conversation today. They've got an idea, but it seems maybe so far away. How can I do it? But I believe I must do it. That takes me back to what I know to be some of the early days for you. You're sleeping on an air mattress. Yeah. In moments like a Fenway Park moment that hits you, and it's just so special. If you go back to those early days of sleeping on an air mattress with a big idea, and maybe you had a lot of doubt. We know imposter syndrome is one of the biggest search terms on Google when people are thinking about entrepreneurial ventures. Take us back to the air mattress and what's going on in your head and your heart in those early days.
Yeah. Well, it's all perspective. The air mattress actually happened 10 years after I started in this industry.
All right.
People don't realize I started as a 23-year-old general manager in a little town in North Carolina, Gastonia, with only 200 fans coming to the games and $268 in the bank account. Spent 10 years grinding, learning, growing, trying new things, experimenting, failing, just to be able to get to the opportunity to sleep on an airbed. Right. Like, it was 10 years of literally just trying to figure out, how do we create something unique and different and special? So many people, so many companies, they see an idea and they try to do something that's a little bit better. We wanted to do something that was truly different, meaningful, differentiator, something that we could be the only at. And for 10 years, we learned what worked and what didn't work. And so to go into Savannah to start from scratch, it's myself, my wife, Emily, and our 24-year-old team president, and a couple 22-year-olds right out of college. And we had this big vision. We're going to start a team from scratch in Savannah, a blank slate. And what if? And again, I've been so inspired by Walt Disney and the blank slate and the vision of saying, this is the way it was done here. We're going to do it dramatically different. And so we came in with this big vision, but people don't realize, no one can see that vision until they actually feel it. And so when we came into Savannah, we were talking about it, but they had baseball for 90 years that failed. Why would they believe this crazy young guy and the 24-year-old president that were coming in? They failed for 90 years. No one came to the games. It was minor league baseball. We were college summer baseball. So in perspective, there's Major League up here, there's Triple A here, there's Double A here, there's High A here, Regular A, Rookie Ball, Independent Ball, top level college, and then there's college summer baseball. Why would these guys do any better? Yeah. And that's where we were. Yeah. And so when we came in, we're like, we're going to have dancing players, we're going to have all this entertainment, we're going to make every ticket all inclusive. We're telling everyone this. They hadn't seen it, they hadn't felt it. I don't blame them for the fact that we only sold 2 tickets in our first few months. We ran out of money. We were done. And many people would have said that's the end of it, just like everyone else. But we believed if they got to experience it, if they got to feel it, if they got to see it with their own eyes, that it could change their perception on what we were creating. And so, yeah, January 15th, 2016 was a day that I'll never, ever forget. It was the day at 4:45 they got a call that we weren't going to make payroll and we were out of money. And Emily and I got married 3 months prior to that.
Oh, my goodness.
So we were starting our life together and we're out of money. And so I think I had $25,000 or something in my savings account. I put that in the team to cover us for the next 2-3 weeks, whatever it would take. Emily said, Jesse, we have to sell our house. So we sold our house. We emptied our savings account. We found an absolute dump that was on the market for 3 years. They didn't want it. Like we didn't have to put anything down. Like it was an old garage that they turned into a studio apartment. And it was so gross. I mean, there was like, we got an airbed and Emily got a twin airbed. I wish she got a queen airbed. She got a twin airbed, which was
it's a little too expensive to get the queen.
Which is tiny. I mean, there were cockroaches.
Oh.
We had to sleep with our socks on, which I know that's you don't sleep with your socks. That's crazy, all right? So we're sleeping with our socks on because it's so dirty.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't clean it because it was an old garage. And we had $30 a week to grocery shop. So it was 42 meals for the two of us for a week. We're not eating real food. We'd splurge once a week and we'd do Taco Bell, the dollar menu. That was a big day for us.
Yeah.
And that's where we were. But what was going through my mind wasn't, oh, look at where we are. How do we get to this situation? It's, what are we going to do next? What are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do today? What can we do to make this better? And so it really wasn't focusing on where we were or what went wrong. It was, what can you do? Let's take that first step. What we believe, and I tell our team, it's like, get to that next at bat. I don't care what you did in that last at bat. Get to your next at bat. So we had to get to that next day. We had to get to opening day. And when we sold out opening day, because people were, I don't know, they're expecting us to fail, every ticket was all inclusive. So we said, that's a friction point. Start from scratch.
So how much time was it between the moment you're describing in that garage to opening day?
January 15th, June 2nd.
Okay, so that many months, about 6 months.
Yes.
You're just scrambling,
which is brutal,
hustling.
but it's so short term.
Yeah.
So many people think that's like the end of the world.
Yeah. You guys didn't quit.
It was a tough season.
Yeah.
We've all had tough seasons.
Yeah.
Get to that next at bat.
You're here today, and you get a lot of the attention, and rightfully so. But I'm struck by the fact that your wife is amazing.
That's an understatement.
And she believed in you, which tells me you're pretty amazing.
She believed in us.
I love that.
She believed in us.
What is going on? Talk about share some of the tough moments where you guys are in that nasty garage. Give me the low moments.
We didn't sleep, obviously, for a multitude of reasons. Again, I wish we had the queen air mattress, but we didn't sleep. All right. And so there were many nights, middle of the nights. Like I remember vividly in January, and we would put on hats, we'd put on gloves, and we would just walk.
Oh, man.
And we would go outside and walk. And I remember you could see the stars, and there'd be moments where we're walking and it's silence. And we're with each other. We're really with each other, but we're not saying anything. And we're just thinking and thinking and thinking. And again, you can only think so much. You got to do. Everyone's thinking about what they got to do. Just start doing. Yeah. And so the next day, all right, what are we going to do to get people excited to come to a game? What can we do to make this experience better? What can we do to make something different that no one's ever seen before? What can we do to figure out how we're going to get this all-you-can-eat food to work? Because we knew that we wanted to create a different experience where every ticket was all-inclusive. Yeah. What do we got to do?
What were a couple of things that you can recall doing in that 6-month period that led to that sellout against all odds?
Yeah, well, I think it was very strategic what we did. So when we announced the new team, so the biggest thing is like, we got to create attention. Attention beats marketing 1,000% of the time. You can market and talk, but what's going to get attention? Yeah. Most people have a marketing plan, but you have an attention plan. There's difference. When you create attention, you're doing something no one else has done before. That's what gets attention. Marketing doesn't get attention unless it's different. And so like, all right, what are we going to do to create attention? And so we had to name the team contest. Every team does that, but they usually pick the one that everyone wants. We did not do that. So everyone was that you need to be the Spirits or the Anchors or the Ports or something that fits Savannah.
Sure.
No. Actually, a lot of people were suggesting the Braves. I'm like, there's a team in Georgia called the Braves. We're not going to be the Braves.
Right.
So finally, we saw this one suggestion, just one out of thousands, from a 62-year-old nurse. And the suggestion was bananas. And we looked at it. He said, ooh, go bananas.
Yes.
Ooh, we could have a senior citizen dance team called the Banananas. You could have a male cheerleading team called the Mananas. Now they're just known as the Dad Bod Cheerleading Squad.
Right.
The mascot could be Split. All right. You could do music videos to Can't Stop the Peeling.
Right.
You could have a banana baby that you lift up before the game.
Yeah.
You could have a banana band. We just started thinking about all these ideas. We're like, we have to. And then we looked at each other like, oh, we're going to get criticized. Locals are going to hate it. And we said, well, this is our opportunity to create attention. Right now, no one even knows we're here. We've been here for months.
Yeah, right.
No one's buying anything. We're not.
Right.
And so we actually prepped our team. The 4 or 5 of us are like, all right, we're going to name the team the Bananas. And we're going to get criticized. How are we going to handle it? And so we spent a couple of days just going on, when they say this, when they say this, this is an embarrassment, what are you going to say? We like prepped ourselves.
So smart.
So we actually announced the name. And remember the news anchor, literally, when we announced it, he stared at the camera in disbelief.
Right.
He was so upset. Locally, everyone said we should be thrown out of town.
Right.
You're an embarrassment to the city. You never sell a ticket. The St. Patrick's Day parade was 2 weeks later. We were wearing green banana shirts. We're getting booed in walking around town. Literally, I mean, that's a different feeling to walk around town and to get booed by people.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. But then, and Emily, being the amazing woman she is, she had to console me more then than when we ran out of money. Because then I was like, we came with this big announcement and we're hated more than we ever were before. She goes, Jesse, this is exactly what we need to do. They at least know we exist. Now they know we exist. Now we just got to prove we can deliver the best possible experience. Get to that opening day. Get to that next at bat. And so from that moment, it was like, all right, we announced it. Nationally, ESPN called it the logo of the year. Like nationally, like, oh, these guys are crazy. They're like, but they don't have to live with their team being called the Bananas in the town that they're proud of. So we got to opening day. And that's when we failed again. So people don't realize, like, every time you do something you've never done before, you're going to fail.
Yeah, that's right.
But people are afraid to get past that failure.
Yeah.
And so we knew if you have a bigger vision of what something can be, I mean, go to Walt Disney. Black Sunday, the opening of Disneyland, July 17, 1955, might have been the worst opening of anything in the history of anything. It was brutal. People were breaking in. The cement wasn't even fully paved. The women's heels were getting stuck into the cement. There was a gas leak. The bathrooms were overflowing. People were going to the bathroom all over. The rides were breaking down. It was a disaster. But Walt knew what it could be. He said, get to the next day. So on opening night, we decided to do all-inclusive food for all 4,000 fans. We never did that before. No one's ever dumb enough to do that. Give away all the food for free for a ticket and to get all your burgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, soda, water, popcorn, dessert for $15 total. That's crazy.
How much did you lose on that?
Let's just tell you what happened. All right. Let's.
Well, I like that. I don't ask that because I think it's dumb. I think it's brave. I love that you said we're going into this. We're not worried about the loss.
You start backwards from what the perfect customer experience is.
That's
where you start from. You start what will create fans, not what will create profit. It's two different conversations.
That's where I was going with that. I love that.
And so what we did, we said, all right, what's the perfect experience? And then what would be a price that's just unbeatable? You want to create a product or experience that your customers feel like they're taking advantage of you.
Yes. Right.
And so we said, all right, if we create $15 ticket, that includes all your burgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, soda, water, popcorn, dessert, all night, not just for an hour, all night, would that be a great product? And then we put on the show.
Sure.
So we did it. We sold it out. People were like, what's going to happen?
Brilliant.
And we were wearing green uniforms because we weren't quite ripe. So the Bananas. And I'll tell you, Ken, we played terrible. But they watched as the players went into the crowd and delivered roses to little girls. They watched as we had the banana baby. They watched as the banana nanas danced. And we won the show.
Yeah.
But boy, did we fail the operation.
Right.
We didn't know we were going to go through 10,000 pieces of meat in an hour. How could you know? I had no idea that they were just going to go like this with all the burgers.
Have you seen people react for a free T-shirt that's ugly? To this day, you go to an NFL, NBA, people go nuts over a free T-shirt that they won't ever wear.
We throw beads now.
Right.
And people go crazy for beads.
Of course.
They're beads. All right.
Right.
But so it was a 2 to 3 hour wait for food.
Oh, I can imagine.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
It was brutal. But you have to be willing to get through the messy to get to the great.
Correct.
And so that night, while the operation was tough, the show was great. People saw things they never saw before. And we just knew we had to adjust. Instead of put all the burgers and hot dogs first, put drinks first so they can put a drink in their hand as opposed to going like that. Add stanchions, add an extra spot. Try to do one at a time if you can. Set up the station. And now in Savannah, every day, same thing. They can get fed within 5 minutes at any point during the game. You got to get through the messy to get to the great. So my point is like once they saw that, once they felt it, once they experienced it, they said, all right, now how are we going to get better? And every day we get better. I looked at one of our first scripts, and we do scripts, Ken, and we're obsessed with our script.
Right.
Our first script had like 10 things before the game. And it was like starting at like 6:45, 7 o'clock. Like typical, you go to a minor league game, you might have a first pitch, you might have an anthem.
Correct.
And we were like 6:45. We had the Banana Baby, we had a performance from the Banana Band, we had some cool things. Now our show starts at 2 o'clock. We script from 2 o'clock until 7 o'clock. Then the game from 7 to 9, which is nonstop. Then we have a post-game show from 9 to 10. Then we sign autographs till the last fan leaves. One of the best lessons I learned from Walt Disney is you always have to plus the experience. We didn't know how to do that in 2016 we started. But each day, get a little bit better. Add something new, plus the experience. And so now, even with our newest team, the Texas Tailgaters, we start with an actual tailgate show in the parking lot. So now we pushed it even before 2 o'clock, and all the players are out there playing games and cooking free food for our fans even before when they first pull in. And that's a new plus. And so you keep plussing and plussing and plussing. And the only way you can plus is you actually have to start in the first point. And that's what we were proud to do in 2016.
Folks, you can't win the day if you lose the night before. We've all learned that the hard way. I can't think of how many times I've had an awful night's sleep, and the rest of the day went that way as well. When I don't sleep well, I'm more distracted, less patient, and honestly, I'm not at my best. That's why I made a change. I got an avocado green mattress, and here's what I love. It took me less than 2 minutes to take their quiz and find out the right fit for me. And I have a lot of peace of mind because there's no toxic chemicals, just organic, breathable materials that help me sleep cooler and deeper. So whether you want to show up better at work or be more present at home, or maybe just get that guest room ready for the holidays, go to avocadogreenmattress.com/Ken. Their Black Friday sale lasts all of November, and with the code KEN50, you save an extra $50 on top of 20% off site-wide. That's avocadogreenmattress.com/Ken, code KEN50. Avocado. Dream of better. What is your unique makeup? When you think about you, and I want to put your wife, Emily, there. I mean, I tell you what, I'm not sure that anybody should think too much about a big entrepreneurial venture if the spouse isn't totally bought
Good luck,
in.
yeah.
Good luck with that. That is tough. Outside of your wife being an amazing partner, your unique makeup, how would you describe what makes you a successful entrepreneur?
Belief.
Just belief?
There's a lot of pieces of anybody that makes them who they are.
Yeah.
But belief has to come before ability. You got to believe in something. And belief is contagious. And if you truly believe in something, you have conviction in what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, you can get people behind you. We couldn't do anything if we didn't have a team, starting with my wife, Emily, and our president, Jared, and our players and our coaches and our cast and our staff of hundreds that travel to every city. But they believe in it. And the reason they believe in it is because we believe in it at the top. And we believe in it for the right reasons. I'm not interested in how much revenue we can make or any of that. I'm interested in creating fans and doing it the right way. I'm obsessed with the idea of creating fans, and I want to create 1 billion fans. I don't care. We've been valued at $1 billion. I don't want to be $1 billion brand. I want to create 1 billion fans. And the only way we're going to do is we're focused on one fan at a time. And we create fans first moments every single night. Every week we talk about this. When we pull up to a stadium, whether it's Yankee Stadium or it's an NFL stadium, we bring our whole staff together before we start. And we talk about the fans first messages and and who we are, what we stand for. We recognize people that created fans first moments the previous week. Then at the end of our show, the next day, we're playing 2 shows. We bring everyone together. We recognize, and we shout out the fans first moments. We talk about fans first. Then on Tuesday, staff chat, we talk about our fans first principles. We talk more about fans first. We believe the reason we are here is because of our fans and what we do for them and how we make them feel. And so that's all we talk about. We believe in it. And when I wrote down 5 years ago, we're going to sell out Fenway Park, I believed in it. And I told people. When I told them we're going to sell out NFL stadiums, I said, we're going to do it. Because here's why. Because we're doing it for the right reasons. We're going to create a fan experience that's truly special. We're going to get up in that upper deck in the nosebleeds and create an experience that people have never felt in the upper deck before.
That's amazing.
And when you spread that and you share that, when we had our first Major League Stadium in Houston, we took all 200 of our staff up to the furthest seats away in the upper deck. And we said, people saying we're getting too big for our britches. We're not going to be successful because we're not an intimate show anymore. I go, the reason we're here is because we focused on one fan at a time. We're going to do the same thing here in this upper deck.
What is the reaction of those fans up in the upper level when you went up there?
They're surprised. I go up there every game. Me personally, I spend 2 innings there up every game. But think about this. That first game in Houston, our head coach, right after that talk, he started writing thank you letters and signing them and putting them in different seats in the upper deck all the way around. So when a fan shows up, Not only will they see a player later, a cast member, they're getting a personalized letter from our head coach thanking them for being with us. It's the examples. We didn't tell our coach to do that. Everyone's challenged every day to create a unique fans first moment, do something they haven't done before.
How many people would you guess those fans in the upper deck, when you go up there, whether the first time you all did it or now you do it every time, and you're up there in the nosebleeds, how many people would you guess that they tell in that following week about that?
I'm sure a lot, and I'm sure when I go up there now, it's a fun reaction. They all start yelling. There's cameras up, and again, I think that's what marketing is, and to an extent, it's create a remarkable experience. Don't focus on what you say, focus on what you do. Mm-hmm. We tell every night, win the upper deck. Do for one what you wish you could do for many, and we'll bring people from the upper deck right down to the dugout. I remember a fan. We were in Cincinnati, playing at the Cincinnati Red Stadium. And a gentleman comes up to me and he said, this is our first show. Thank you so much. But, we got standing room only, but it's really tough to see. My kids are small and we're up here. And I go, all right, come with me. They're like, where? I go, we're going to the dugout. We got to go now because I'm on the field in about a half inning. And so all of a sudden, this dad and his two kids and his wife are running with me. And they're coming down in an elevator. And all of a sudden, they're in the dugout with all the players. And they're looking up at it. And I go, enjoy. They go, how long is there? I go, the rest of the game, whatever you want. Enjoy. And again, I want our whole team is empowered to create those moments.
Yes.
And I think, when you asked about the makeup, it is belief and a singular focus on what really matters.
Yes.
And it's how we make people feel.
Yeah.
And if that's all we talk about, and that's what we do, and we're not afraid. I'm fearless. I'm certainly fearless. And our teams become fearless. Because when you do something hard, it may go wrong, but you're going to get better.
Yeah.
And you're going to learn.
That's right.
Doing our first college football stadium at Clemson with 81,000 people, I had no idea how we were going to do that. It was hard. It was really hard. But then we did it.
Yeah.
And then we were ready for the next one.
Oh,
So that's kind of the mindset.
You have said one of my biggest fears is to be misrepresented. Or at least that's what I see as
Yeah, there's a few. I have a few fears, but yes, that's one of them.
That's right. What did you mean by that? And then where does that come from?
Perception. Perception hurts. So, there's been memes and images of me behind bars because of our ticket pricing. That's a misrepresentation.
Yeah.
Our tickets at major league stadiums are $40, $50, and $60 with no ticket fees, no convenience fees, no service fees. We've been told by every consultant in the world to charge our tickets at $200 to $300 where they're valued at, because our average ticket in the secondary market is going between $300 to $400. Even some tickets went for as high as $1,000, and that hurts me in my core. And we're going to put a stop to that. We're going to figure that out. But the reality is that misperception, that misunderstanding, it hurts when people say, oh, look at what he's charging, look at the greed, look at what, I go, I don't know what's in our bank account. I could care less about the dollars. I want to create something that's really remarkable and memorable. So I think that is a fear of that misunderstanding. But I also realize anybody that does something truly special that's different will be misunderstood. And if you look throughout history, everyone's misunderstood. Walt Disney was, Snow White was called Disney's Folly. It was going to be a huge failure. The first ever full-length animated film. It's one of the most successful in time. Even his wife, his brother, everyone said Disneyland was going to fail. You're always going to be that. So I've become more numb to it and understanding that's just part of the process. But I like people to know where our heart is. And that's why I share so much personal content of after games, before games, who we are, what we're about, more than probably any owner ever would or ever should. But I believe that personal connection and understanding the heart of this organization is very valuable. And also Bob Iger taught me this, and I was very fortunate to get a chance to talk with him one-on-one a couple weeks ago. But he said in his book, when you get such a big company, you often have to lead by press release because you can't connect with 60,000, 100,000, 200,000, however many employees they have. So this is where Disney's going. And so the more I can share videos and thoughts on what's going on in my mind and what I think about and where we're going, what we're trying to do, it also can help our team as we're hiring new people every single day. So I think about that. I'm trying to defeat the misperceptions and with the focus on the truth.
What do you think from your environment growing up to your experiences along the way, what do you think shaped this unbelievable drive for a guy who's so successful to go, I don't even know how much is in the bank account. All I care about is making people feel something positive. Do you know, can you point to anything that shapes that? Because it's a driving desire. It's obvious.
I was an only child. My parents got divorced. My dad got custody of me and helped raise me. We had the connection with baseball. And what was interesting is my dad praised me based on often accomplishments. So for instance, if I did really well in school, they'd have a PTO conference, I'd have baseball cards in my desk. I was like, yeah, I did it. If I hit home runs, I'd get, a couple dollars or whatever. And that kind of built, if you look at my Enneagram, most people think I'm driven by happiness, but I'm driven by achievement and accomplishment. Yeah. And so I think as a kid, I was just a kid trying to make his dad proud.
Yeah.
My dad worked really hard. He worked really hard, and often I'd be alone in the mornings, and I'd wait till he get home, and we'd go to the field, and I just wanted to make my dad proud.
Yeah.
And it grew. Even when I got into working, I still that kid, and I think now I want to make my kids proud. I want to make my wife proud, and so I think that's still a driver for me. But then also, you're the average of the people you spend your time around. And what's interesting is people would say, "Oh, well, your team." No, it's Walt Disney, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
WWE, Cirque du Soleil, SNL. I read constantly from the greatest innovators of our time. And that's all I think about.
So good.
And so then that drives me with the idea of trying to make the people that I love proud. Yeah. And so you put that together, and I think that's how we're able to make it happen.
I'm so glad you said that. I think we overlook our ability to get in proximity of people that we'll never sit with personally.
More than ever, and especially with podcasts and videos. Yeah. I mean, we are the luckiest generation in the world. Yeah. Every day, we can learn directly from the source. Yeah. If I can imagine being alive with Walt Disney, and he was doing podcasts about how he built Disney. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah. I mean, P.T. Barnum, he wrote books, but in a whole different way if he could talk to you directly. Oh. We get that every single day. We can listen to Bezos talk about how he built Amazon. Are you kidding me? I feel so grateful that every day I surround myself with that. Your input affects your output. And every day, if you have this amazing input, this inspirational input, you can achieve anything.
I love that. I know we have an audience question. All right, let's go right here in front.
Jesse, what's the first fan encounter or fan experience that made you cry, where you realized that this was something way bigger than just Banana Ball?
It was opening night, 2016. Remember it vividly. And again, I knew behind the scenes, we were struggling with the food. We were struggling with serving people. It was the first night doing all you can. It was the first day of the Bananas. It was a lot of craziness. And we had a rain delay too, an hour rain delay. And I remember I had the Banana Nanas dance during the rain delay out in the rain. They were in white jerseys. That was a whole nother thing. But we tried a lot of things. And this is now like the 6th, 7th inning, late in the game. And a young woman comes up to me and says, can I get a signed ball? And now we get asked that question a lot. Can we get a signed ball? And she said it would mean a lot to me. And I said, sure, why would it mean? She's like, I'm here sitting in tribute to my fiance who had come to every single opening night at the stadium. And he just tragically passed away a couple weeks ago. I'm here with his family. And if you could get a ball for me, it would really mean a lot. I said, of course. And she goes, well, there's one other thing. She goes, you have a player on your team named Drew Moody. My fiance's name was Drew Moody. And so at that moment, I was blown away. And Drew was still playing at that time with the University of Georgia. But his younger brother, Logan Moody, was with us. So I went into the dugout. I told Logan Moody, who was 18 years old, only been with us for a few days at that point. I said, Logan, here's what happened. He goes, I want to get a ball from everyone, and I want to go give it to her. I said, that's great, Logan. So I watched, he got the ball signed. And then he went up and he delivered it to her. And he sat down with her. And he spent a whole inning with her. And I looked up at the end of the inning, and he gave her this huge hug. And he came down, and I said, wow, Logan. And he goes, fans first, right? He was with us for 2 days, and he understood what it was about. And for that young woman who came up to me afterwards, and she gave me a hug, and it was one of those hugs that no one lets go. She said how much that meant to her and her family. And amongst all the craziness that we had that night, that one moment by an 18-year-old kid to understand what truly matters most show me that this is going to be truly special. And so that moment stands out for me.
Right here in the shadows of our studio, we've got the Tennessee Titans, who they're just awful. We're just a terrible football team right now.
They were tremendous to work with. They are a great organization.
They're a great
brand new stadium, and they're going to do well in a few years.
Hopefully. But right now they're awful. And not picking on them. But here's opening day. Their first game, they got the number 1 pick in the draft, Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And it was just, look at this. You got empty seats everywhere. And this is the beginning of a new era. Now, I just throw that up there, not picking on the Titans, right? If you were going to make the NFL more exciting, and Roger Goodell comes to you and he goes, all right.
He would never do that, by the way.
I know, but this is my show, and I get to ask I get to ask a what if. What would you do to make an opening day like that? We got the number 1 draft pick. What would be a couple things that you would do that would blow that Tennessee Titan crowd away?
The way Walt Disney would look at it is you focus on what you can control. The challenge when you have the NFL, MLB, NBA, it's all based on the success of the team. And so everything, even their bottom line's often getting to the playoffs, going to that. What Walt said, I'm going to focus on controlling the variables. When you first walk in, I'm only going to have one entrance. Every other amusement park had multiple entrances. I'm going to control the music. I'm going to control what you smell. I'm going to control the parking lot. I'm going to control when you first come through that little tunnel, the first thing that you see. And then you're going to see the big castle. I'm going to control the feelings. The music is changing from you go out there. Everything I'm going to control. I'm not going to have the regular amusement rides like everyone else and have custom theme rides so you feel something different. So the question is, again, how do you want to control the experience? And so you set the tone well before the game starts. And so one of the lessons that we've learned is that, when we send out an email, what to expect when expecting, then we send a playlist of music to listen to on the way to the game. And then we set the tone out in the parking lot where, again, we do a rope drop, just like Disney. At 2:00, we have all of our characters out there. We sing a song. We do a big open. The players are the first ones greeting you. Imagine if all of a sudden they open up applause out in front of the stadium and you got Cam Ward and the players greeting all the fans, welcoming them, saying, you know what, this is a new era. We're not just going to be out here and try to compete. We're going to be fans first. And then you set the tone there. We do a march. We have all of our players and cast march through the crowd. I think and here at the Titan Stadium, we had about 15 to 20,000 people out in front 3 hours before the game. And we marched through them, and we high-five every single one. Because what we realize is this is who we're playing for. People waited 2-3 years to get on a list to be able to get to come to a game. We're going to make sure we feel that. Wow. And then we do a big performance. And at literally 4:30, 3 hours before the game almost, we do streamers and we do a big opening. You set the tone. So I think one of the biggest things, the NFL does a great job. They encourage celebrating, which is good. But how do you break down the barriers between the players and the fans?
Yes.
Why don't the players get introduced coming from the crowd?
Right.
Why do they have to always come from the tunnel? Yeah. Yes, there's security reasons. There's so-and-so. There's so many reasons not to do something. The world is always going to push you back to normal. How do you push the other way and say, you know what, we're going to create something remarkable even though it's hard? And so break down the barriers. Let the fans feel and acknowledge that these are real people that are playing for you. And then you start build a relationship and a culture that even when they lose, you're still behind them.
That's right.
And that's what we focus on. Every night, we don't ask at the end of the game. I said the game there on purpose. We don't say at the end, did you enjoy the game? No, we say, do you enjoy the show?
Yeah.
Your team may win or lose, but if you focus on putting on a great show,
that's right,
they will always enjoy the show.
I love a good holiday deal. And saving money with codes and email signups and exclusive offers can be great, but there's also a trade-off. Every one of those deals requires you to give a little more of your personal information, and that data doesn't always stay with the store. It's sold to data brokers who then resell it to spammers, scammers, and phishing networks. I'm not telling you to skip your holiday deals, but I am telling you to protect yourself with Delete Me. Over 20 billion records have leaked in recent years, so the Delete Me team of privacy experts tracks down your personal info across hundreds of shady websites and gets it removed. And they don't just remove it once, they stay on it over and over. So the fewer robocalls and junk emails in your inbox, the more energy you can spend where it counts, on your work and in your relationships. Take back control of your digital privacy. Go to joindeleteme.com/frontrowseat for 20% off an annual plan. That's joindeleteme.com/frontrowseat. southwest.com/front row seat. If you look at in the news, we've seen Southwest made a decision, obviously, to disregard their customers, in my opinion, to say, hey, this is what made us special. This is what got us here. And they decided to charge for bags, assigned seats, whatever your position is on it. They've taken a pretty big hit on this decision to be like everybody else. You look at Cracker Barrel. This is hilarious. I mean, just enormous controversy over the logo change and the interior of the restaurant. With those two stories of really iconic brands, how do you guard against this with Banana Ball in the future? I mean, we hear how maniacal you are about the fan experience, but looking at what had to happen, and neither one of us are privy to what was going on inside those walls. But how do you, or how does any company guard against making a decision in the future that disregards your fans?
Yeah, well, the starting point for creating a remarkable experience, or the starting point for all innovation, is to eliminate the friction points for your customers. That's everything. That's how this whole thing started for the Bananas. We looked at all the friction points, from baseball to many is too long, too slow, too boring. So we said, we're going to create a new game, Banana Ball, 2-hour time limit. You win the inning, you get a point. No bunting, no mound visits, all right? No stepping out of the box. No walks, because you shouldn't have a walk in an athletic sport. It just doesn't make sense to me. And if fans catch a foul ball, it's an out. So you involve the fans. So that, and then you look at the other friction points, get nickel and dimed. You pay your ticket fees, your convenience fees, your service fees, your taxes. And so we said, we're going to eliminate all that. And we pay all of our taxes for our fans, like with everything. Merchandise, tickets, it's millions of dollars cost. And so you look at all your friction points. And so, yes, for the challenge that Southwest had, obviously, a friction point is when everyone said you're going to start charging for bags. And they made one of the smartest decisions. And they actually spent a lot of money promoting that they weren't going to charge on bags. It created thousands and probably millions of fans. It was really smart. It gets a challenge when you see the business changing and you say, well, what do we do now? The best way is try to think of another way to innovate. Our business is solely supported by fans. Most sports leagues, you have broadcasting and you have sponsorships. That's less than 1% of our total revenue. We are supported by our fans.
Yes.
So we know that we have to create a business that is great for them. And then when it comes to Cracker Barrel, again, they were trying to innovate. They're trying to not be the old brand, but the old brand was loved. So the question is, how could you lean in on more, and how could you plus the experience while still keeping true to your brand?
Yeah.
I don't envy being in those seats. It's tough when you're a company that's so public in that sense in many ways. But I think you got to start with, what are the friction points and how do you continue to plus the experience? And so everyone said, oh, you're just the Globetrotters, just keep doing exhibition. We're disrupting ourselves to create a league. People are like, what do you mean competitive? It's just a scripted thing. We're going to lose some fans. We lost some fans when we went to traditional baseball. I think the question is understanding who your fans are, but also understanding who your future fans are. That's something that Cracker Barrel was looking to. They were trying to create future fans. I understand their ethos, what they were trying to do there.
Yeah.
Because if you only try to appease your current fans, you may not be missing out the opportunity on the future fans.
Right.
We lose season ticket holders. We get too crazy. You guys are too crazy now. But we realize that we have to evolve. So you have to understand, is the vision greater than the whole of a small group, and sometimes the vocal minority? Now, with Cracker Barrel and Southwest, it's become a very, very vocal majority.
Yeah.
And so, again, I can't necessarily say what to do for both of them. I value and respect those brands. I think they've done amazing things for many years. Everyone has a misstep. Yeah. We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Let them make a mistake, and they both Cracker Barrel corrected it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you answered it beautifully to say it's about removing friction.
Yeah.
So the other side is, don't create friction.
Yes.
And if you do, fix it.
Yeah. Well, that's the best way to create a fan sometimes.
Yeah.
If something bad happens, we have a 3-hour rain delay script. Rain is one of the toughest things that we can deal with.
Of course.
So we have a 3-hour rain delay script. We want fans, if we actually don't play, to say it was the most fun I've ever had at a baseball game, they never threw a pitch. Work backwards from what the perfect experience is.
Yes.
So work backwards. What's the best flying experience you could ever have? And Southwest thought about that with a lot of things and how they built it. Work backwards from the best dining experience. If you start with the perfect experience and work backwards on every touch point, then you're on your way. And eliminate those things that they've always done that way, because we've always done it that way.
Yeah. I want to continue to hit you with some things that I think you may not deal with on a regular basis, but I think you're so equipped to speak to these for leaders.
Okay.
Corporate culture. Let's just talk about workplace culture in America. It continues to just kind of become negative. Obviously, we saw a disruption during COVID when a lot of people were working remote. Now we're back to pre-pandemic levels of people in the office. And without getting into a ton of the data, this is one that's just really troubling. Only 31% of U.S. employees, this is from Gallup, are engaged at work.
Yeah.
So we heard about quiet quitting, all this kind of stuff. It's become a leadership nightmare. This is something that you had said, if you haven't earned, you're talking about the employees, your team members, if you haven't earned their enthusiasm, their devotion, their fanaticism, they'll move on to something bigger, better, more exciting, and more relevant. What is working in your organization to keep everybody engaged that other people, leaders, managers can learn from?
Well, we're learning every day, and as we're growing at rapid speeds, I remember for the first 5, 6, 7 years, it was like 10 of us. Now we have hundreds.
Yeah.
And anytime you go through that, you got to think about, what are the things that we're doing constantly for our biggest fans? The name of the company is Fans First Entertainment. Mm-hmm. But who are our biggest fans? Who are the people that show up, at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. on a weekend and work till 1 a.m. and then do the same thing with energy the next morning? Who are the people that are constantly thinking about how do we create an experience for our fans? And so we obsess over that. So for instance, we haven't announced this, but we'll be announcing soon. When we look at a schedule, a sports schedule, what's the first thing people think about when a sports schedule? It's like, they're going to play all the time. You think about playing on Christmas, the NBA, now the NFL, playing on Thanksgiving. They're playing on all the biggest holidays. They play constantly. MLB from February until October. There's no weekends off. July is the biggest, summer, in the middle of the summer for baseball. It's huge. We're about to announce we're giving 2 complete weekends off back to back, which is crazy. It's millions of dollars we're leaving on the table that we know we could sell out stadiums. Mm-hmm. But what's best for our people? To be with their families, to recharge. We have 0 games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no matter what. Just like Chick-fil-A's closed on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We are literally 3 days a week, we will never have a game, ever. That's a non-negotiable. What's best for your team? What's best for your people? What we do is hard. We travel to a different part of the country, soon at some point international. Yeah. We come back, it's tiring. And so you think about those. First, make sure what matters most. My wife and I, we have 3 kids. And we want to show that we can do this and keep a family as strong as possible. If we can do it for ourselves, and then also all of our team that's now having kids, getting married, our younger team is growing, how can we figure that out? We got to prove we can do it ourselves. How can we have families come on the road? We take care of their hotels. We create an experience for them. We set up times at the aquarium and the museums, and they get together and we go. That's important to us. So what are your values? What matters most? And then how do you surprise and take care of your team? Well, many of our people will talk about, we've done bucket list trips out of nowhere just to surprise them. Anywhere in the world you want to go, take someone with you. It's on us. Surprise them. You want to do for one what you wish you could do for many. If we're doing that for our fans, we got to do it for our biggest fans. And I'll never forget Marie Matzinger, who literally started with us as a 22-year-old. She's done everything with us. She's now our head people person, which is perfect because she's seen the whole organization. Her dad doubted her joining us. And I didn't blame her. This was a startup team. She was valedictorian of her school, brilliant girl, smart. Join us for not a huge pay. We didn't have anything. And he's like, what are you doing? You could do this. And she's like, I believe in this. And we struggled. Within a few months, her dad's like, look what's happening. And then finally we started selling out games, started to have success. And after she took on a new role and started hiring people and taking over and bringing on great people, on her anniversary of joining us, we surprised her with her bucket list trip was to Ireland, and she took her dad.
Oh, wow.
And so to think about that, she got to experience a week with her dad because of something that we built together. And she believed in it. Yeah. Now her dad believes in it very much so.
And you want to talk about building loyalty. Everything you just ticked off, that takes care of the engagement issue.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, engagement, just create an experience that's also great for your people. When they first show up, their first day.
Right.
When we have our interns show up, our whole entire staff comes up and we have a huge celebration and surprise them. And we know what their favorite snacks are, their favorite drinks. We ask these questions on very early. So at their desk, you better believe they have their favorite things with. or they have a thank you letter from all of us. And like those little touches really go a long way, and it's important.
Well, it's super important because it would eventually get out if what you were doing behind the scenes with your team wasn't congruent with what you do for the fans.
Well, look at some of the
your
biggest companies,
values are synonymous. Okay, one more envelope, a little surprise, and it's perfect coming off of this conversation.
All right, let's see it.
I want you to tell people what this is.
All right, what do we got here?
This is one of my favorite cultural things that you do. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is this is one of the thank you letters. So many years ago in 2016, I started the thank you experiment. So I read from John Gordon, the one word. If you could choose one word instead of a New Year's resolution, if you could just have one word that you focus on for the year. And so my word was care. And I said, I could just care, but I need something tangible. So what if I do a thank you letter every single day? So again, what's that next step? So I was like, all right, I'm going to commit. I bought 500 custom thank you letters. Then I wrote a list of people in my in my life, that from old coaches to teachers to Simon Sinek, who, really the why. And I'll never forget, I wrote a letter to Simon Sinek.
Oh, wow.
And I get an unknown phone number pop up. And this was back when you answered unknown phone numbers.
Sure.
So this was back in 2017, 18. And I said, hello, it's Jesse. He goes, Jesse, it's Simon Sinek here. I go, shut up, who is it? And he goes, no, it's Simon. And he goes, I got your thank you letter, and I just want to tell you how much it inspired me. The reason why I do is to help people live inspired lives, and you inspired me. And we spoke for like a minute or whatever it was. And it showed like, wow, so true to who he was. So I've kept this going on. I still write thank you letters to this day. I did probably for 4 or 5 years straight every single day. Now I do videos a lot. I send direct videos to people. But this is a letter I wrote to Taylor. This is the first day. And so Taylor's my executive rock star, who she joined us as part of our team in 2017, 2018. So Taylor, I can't tell you how excited we are to have you join the Fans First family. I remember my first day back in 2007 like it was yesterday. And I truly fell in love with what we get to do every day. I hope the same for you, and I see a similar passion and positivity in you that I've had all these years. I can't wait to watch you grow with us and truly make a huge difference in people's lives. It's all about the impact we make, and I know you're going to make an amazing impact. Welcome, Jesse.
How fun. So first day on the job?
Yes, as her first day. And I've sent her now the first few years, she shared with me the thank you letters. And so she was leading in events for us, to all of our events. We got rid of all the events. We literally eliminated it because we realized we got to focus on what we do the best. And then years later, she joined me to help me on my team, and couldn't do anything without her. So that's special that she's kept those.
Yeah, so fun. P.T. Barnum once said, the noblest art is making someone happy.
Yeah.
It is so obvious just talking with you today that is really something that you're thinking about.
The world needs it.
Is that, in today's world, that's where I was going to go. How much of the explosion of your brand and your company is a result of when you watch it? I've turned it on ESPN recently and started watching it. It's so fun for me to watch the crowd. Because if you watch a normal baseball game, like there's multiple conversations going on, but it's just, there is a hum that you can feel over the audience watching it on television. How much do you believe that the happiness that you create is so needed in today's world, and they're just flocking to you because people are going, this is a night I'd rather spend? Yeah,
it's everything. Often joy, love, happiness are soft words. They're not used as much in business in the world today. Yeah. But they're everything. Yeah. It's not only just the world, I believe, is hungry for this feeling. I believe that also with the life that we've gone to digital, the hours we spend on our phone, the hours we spend there, to be able to feel a part of something with people. It's all about bringing people together. Yeah. And so when I watch, it's really special. At the end of each night, we have our finale, which, by the way, is a funny story because after one of our games a few years ago, we finished. It was a walk-off hit, literally a big walk-off hit. Everyone's celebrating, and the fans aren't leaving. Like, they just wouldn't leave. Right. So I turned to our director of entertainment. I go, we need a finale. Like, they need to know. Like, we need to do a full performance and a bow and say thank you. And so by the next week, we built a whole performance to the greatest show, did a whole dance. We thanked them. We do confetti. And so after our finale, we bring our teams in and we thank them. And Bill Leroy, who's been with us many years now, is our captain. he gets up and he talks about it. The whole stadium, no one's left. It's amazing. It's amazing. Hours after they were there at 2:00. This is at 9:00. And he says, whether you're 2 or you're 82, and no matter what demographic you come from, no matter where you are, we're here today and we're together. And the joy that we felt, you're helping us live our dreams, but you guys being here together, and not one person's on their phone, he gives this talk, you hear the crowd start to erupt and even in the middle of his talk before he's done, because they're feeling that they were a part of something. We all want to feel like we're a part of something.
Yeah.
And so what's the craziest thing at the end is he thanks them. We tell them how much we love them. We all raise our hands up in the air. 40,000 people. And we all say fans first, which is crazy. They're literally saying the name of our company, who we are, what we stand for. They're talking about themselves, but we're all in together. And what if you always put your fans first? What if you realize who are your biggest fans? How do you create those moments for your family, your friends every day, and you put them first? If we all do that, what would this world look like? Yeah. And so, I think it's something, I don't want to get too big, but I think the world is looking for it. I think they want to feel a part of something. They want to feel together, and they want to not take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
I'm in a full yellow tuxedo.
Yeah.
If the owner is in a full yellow tuxedo, and during the game, every game, I throw out Dolce and Banana underwear, which we actually have Dolce and Banana underwear. Yeah. If I'm throwing that in the crowd, and we have Bananas, huge, big guys that are wearing cheerleading outfits, and they're dancing all game, why can't we all not take ourselves too seriously? Let loose, have fun, feel a part of something. Yeah. And I think we're proud to deliver that. And it's not for everyone, but I'll tell you, every night we feel the love, and we're going to keep spreading it.
Yeah. What I love about what you're doing is you don't have to be a baseball fan to come and enjoy that evening.
We're not for baseball fans.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And I love that. That's so great. How do you protect yourself? Your physical health, relationship health.
It's hard.
Spiritual health. Yeah, you're going. What are you doing to make sure you don't flame out?
Yeah. I pride ourselves in our organization to be the fastest learning organization in sports. And the only way you become the fastest learning is you do more, you try more, you experiment more. That's the same with my personal life, with my wife, with my kids. We started homeschooling this past year, trying to figure that out. And when I think on how do we do that, everyone says about follow your passion. Follow your energy. What gives you energy? And it was a few years ago that this came to me, and I said, the days that I'm just done, we all have them. At the end of the day, it's like, I'm done. Just give me a second. I'm done. And I realized, I did an audit. I said, what was I doing those days? And it was doing things that didn't give me energy.
Yes.
For instance, looking for me, spreadsheets, money, operations, all those things. It didn't give me energy. So I said, all right, well, what does give me energy? And I created three things that I realized it's my buckets. It's create, share, and grow. If I'm creating, come up with new ideas, creating something new, if I'm sharing with you right now, if I'm sharing to our team, I'm sharing who we are, what we stand for, what I believe in. If I'm growing, if I'm learning, like I shared before, listening to your podcast, listening to people that can really help me learn, I'm on top of the world. Mm-hmm. If I'm out on the field, we're creating something new. We're sharing. I'm out in front of the players and the fans, and we're growing because we just did something we've never done before. You can give me a mic at the end of the night at 11:30 at midnight, and I'm on top of the world. So then how do we build that not only for myself, but for my wife, for our teammates, for our players, for our cast, for our crew, for everyone? Are you doing what gives you energy? And how do you do more of that? And how do you take away the things that don't give you energy? We are now going to 6 teams. We're launching a league. We're going to be going all over the country in very hard places, some of the biggest stadiums in the world, all of that. But if it gives us energy and we're at the right people, it is, I believe, not only sustainable, it is what can make us thrive. And I think everyone says, they always ask, is this sustainable? That's the wrong question. I don't want to be sustainable. I want our people to thrive. I want our team to thrive. I want to thrive. I want my kids to thrive. I want all of us to thrive. And the only way you do that is you got to be doing things that truly give you energy and fire you up. And luckily we've been fortunate to be doing that on that trajectory.
What does relaxing look like for you?
Oh, I'm a dad. I spend a lot of time in our backyard with the kids, and we have a turf back there. And Maverick, which he likes to be known as Mav Trick now, because he's doing all the trick plays. So he's doing all the trick plays like our our players. I'll be out there playing with him for an hour. I'll be out swimming with my 2 girls and just having fun. And so it doesn't sound relaxing. I'm playing, but for me, just sitting on a couch doesn't do it. I like to be doing things and activities. And so for me, being home with the kids, just having fun, that is great for me.
Before I let you go, I want to ask this because I think you've touched a little bit about on this topic. but I want to put you on the spot here for a takeaway for folks. What advice would you give people to deal with the tension between ideation and execution? So I'm thinking like small business, medium-sized business, doesn't matter what the industry is.
Yeah.
You're a creative.
Yeah.
And I would love personally
Yeah.
to show up to one of your creative meetings and just sit on the wall and watch it.
Oh,
But
we'd get you involved. You better bring ideas.
Oh, believe
you don't
me.
get in the meeting unless you're
believe
bringing
me,
ideas.
The elephant was just a
the start.
starting point for me. My team gets sick of my ideas.
Come on a
believe me.
Tuesday. Tuesday's our full day of ideas. We learned this from Saturday Night Live. We spend
I'm
an
in.
entire Tuesday
I'm
doing
in.
ideas.
But I do want to ask you,
Yeah.
there is a
How do you
tension
go from? Yeah.
between the ideation piece
Yeah.
and the execution piece. And I'm talking as I'm getting base level here of you got your creatives in an organization, you got people who automatically hear an idea and they go, "Ah," they get freaked out. And you have had to learn that tension, how to manage the tension between ideation and execution. What could you tell us?
I love this because, I think you can talk and think about an idea forever.
Yes.
How quickly can you actually do it? And do it when you're not 100% sure if it'll work. Lorne Michaels said this with SNL. We weren't ready at 11:30, but the show starts at 11:30. So the question is, how quickly can you get through all the red tape and just try, just experiment? So a good example is this. We had an intern with us many years ago, and his first day I came up and I said, "Hey, I know you've been following us. Do you have any ideas for us or anything?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, I actually do." I go, "Great, what do you got?" He goes, "Well, I know how we call every fan and thank them. So for the first 7 years, do the unscalable to do the scalable. We called every single fan that bought a ticket and thanked them for the first 7 years." So he joined us, and usually when we have an intern join us the first day, they make thank you calls.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, I know we've done thank you calls. I actually bought tickets a few years ago. I got a thank you call. It was really cool." He goes, "They're just kind of, meh." And I go, what do you mean they're, meh? And he goes, "Well, I think they could be more fun." And I go, "What do you have in mind?" And he goes, "Well, what if we made it like a song or a rap?" I go, "Awesome. What do you have in mind?" He goes, "Well, I had an idea. We could do kind of a rap." I was like, "Perfect. You'll do one by the end of the day." This is his first day. He goes, No. I'm kind of awkward. I can't. He said several times, "I'm awkward. I can't." I go, "No, perfect. You'll be Austin, the awkward bananas rapper." And he goes, "Really?" I go, "Yes. At 4:00, I'm going to come back in. You're going to make a rap to one of our fans to thank them." And so this is at like 10 a.m. So throughout the day, he's kind of like nervous walking around. This is his first day. Sure. I'm the owner of the company. He starts writing this. He starts writing it. And Barry, who's kind of his leader, said, "All right, I think he's got it." I go, "All right, Austin, make the rap and make the call." And he goes, Okay. His face is red. He picks up the phone. He calls. "Hello? Hey, this is Austin, the awkward bananas rapper. I'm here to fill your day with fun, joy, and laughter. I just want to thank you." And he makes this whole rap. And the guy goes, "Thanks, man. Appreciate it." And he goes, "That wasn't that bad." I go, "Of course it wasn't." And my point was, he made that rap.
Yeah.
He did it. And he got over that fear.
Yeah.
You got to get over the fear of an idea failing. And so for us, every single night, we do 10 to 15 things we've never done in front of a live crowd. Some don't work. The living piñata did not work. All right. Every night we don't do some that don't work, but some do. And so my point is, if every night, every day, you're trying something brand new, you very quickly get over that fear. I'm a broken record, but you got to come up to bat and you got to swing hard. And the more times you come up to bat, the more times you take swings, the more success you're going to have. There's a reason why Pete Rose had more hits than anyone else in Major League Baseball. He had 14,000 at-bats. He had 2,000 more at-bats than anyone that ever played the game. He kept coming up to bat. So if you want to go from idea to execution, you got to actually start saying, we're going to execute something brand new every single day. And it might not go well. But how do you learn faster? You learn faster by doing more. And so that's our whole ethos organization. One of our fans' first principles are ideas are everything. Ideas are the starting point, but it's the execution that is the game changer. And even you got to not be afraid of not executing to the best ability. Our first game on ESPN, the transmission went out for the first 10 minutes. You couldn't even watch our game on ESPN. It was brutal. Our first shipment of T-shirts, we had too many N's in bananas. We literally misspelled our own name with our first shipment of T-shirts. Our first ticket launch, the whole system shut down. Our first Major League Stadium, we literally got hijacked. Our whole system shut down and open seating was a disaster. Our first all-you-can-eat game, people waited 2 hours. Every single thing we did for the first time, we struggled with. We failed at first, but we got to the next at-bat. We can't be afraid of that. You can't limit yourself by saying, what if it goes wrong? The question is, what if it goes right?
Yes.
And that's how you have the gold. And so every day we ask, what if it does go right? What if? And that starting with that what if is unlocks a lot of things.
Oh, so good. Oh, folks, you heard Jesse talk about how he had gotten close to Walt Disney and Steve Jobs, and I love that so much. When I wrote the proximity principle, I mentioned the idea of being around people that you could never actually sit with, and today is an incredible example. So much to take away. As I wrap every conversation, I try to give you something that I took away. There's so much today, but I wrote this down and I circled it. You got to get through the messy to get to the great. That's not just a great business piece of advice. That is incredible life advice. That's relationships. That's in your physical life. That's in your mental and emotional health. You got to get through the messy to get to the great. I'm going to be applying that in every area of my life, and I challenge you to do that as well. Hey, if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to let us know by liking and subscribing. It's how we grow. And also, if you'd like to join us in studio for a future live recording, check out the link in the show notes for up-to-date info on our guests, the dates, and the opportunities. Wow, I don't want to quit this. I'm like the fans at the end of the game that don't want to leave. But I want to say to my friends in the studio for joining us, thank you. I know you have a lot of things going on, but would you also help me thank Jesse for being with us? That was so good. So good.
Appreciate it.